So first off, I guess thanks for everybody for coming and participating in today's webinar. It shouldn't be too terribly long. I just want to go over two new features that are going to be coming out pretty quickly here. We're going to have we're going to discuss emailing of statements, which is a pretty big thing we've been working on for a while, which is actually going to go into final beta testing on the 4th of September, but I've got enough of it here. I've got it all here to demonstrate it to you from our staging site. The other thing I'm going to go over is assigning the technicians to certain activities. We've completed that feature in the program, and I just want to show you how to do that as well. So if you have any questions, I've got everyone muted now just because I am recording this for us to post later. If you have any questions along the way, feel free to type them in the chat. I'll try to get to them as they pop up. If not, I'll definitely check it once we've gone over these few things and see if I can answer anything for you that way. So I guess without any further ado, let's go ahead and get going. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the statement emailing feature, and just a little bit of the setup that's going to be involved with that, just so you're aware. And then I'm actually going to demonstrate it to you to show you how that will all be completed. So the first thing we want to do is, I assume you can all see my screen, and we've got a few of the modules in front of us. The only modules we're really going to be concerned about today are going to be global settings and order management. So we'll go and get the global settings stuff out of the way first. And so in regards to the emailing of statements, there's just really two things to be aware of in your global settings. So the first thing that I'll show you is under company settings. Now, when the emails go out and the business receives their email with the link for their statement, you're going to have all your business information listed in that email as well. Now, under company settings is where you control that. Now, most of you should probably already have that filled in, but if you don't, you'll want to take a minute to go ahead and get this filled in correctly if you do plan on using the email statement feature, because like I said, this is where it's going to grab that, all your business data from to include in that email. So if you ever needed to change it, addresses or phone numbers or anything, this is where you would manage it from. Company settings under the global settings. The only other thing to be aware of in the global settings that has to do with the emailing of statements at the moment is under statement settings, we have here what is referred to as default statement email subject. Now, it's gonna have a default subject on the email already. I'll show you that in a little bit. It's something along the lines of, here's your statement for August and then it'll have your business information listed there. But if you did need to make some sort of custom subject for those statement emails, this is where you could control that. Maybe it was around the holidays and you wanted to do something along this line. This is where you could control this from if you weren't satisfied with what the default one is. And I'll show you that one. I'll show you that in just a little bit here. Now, so two things in global settings. Like I said, company settings, make sure you have your address and phone numbers in there. And then, here, let me go ahead and shut this off. And then, you'll also want to make sure that if you want to change the email subject to control that from here. So we'll just cancel this out and go back. So what I'm going to do now is I'll take you back to the Launchpad, and we'll actually demonstrate what we need to do in order to make this work. So what I'm going now into the order management module, and we're going to go find an account that we're going to pretend that we're the person who's going to receive the statement from that account. So I'm going to use one of our sample accounts here. I'm going to use Brick Dentistry West. So what I'm doing is just going right into the account detail, and right here where there's this little envelope is where their email addresses are stored. Now, if you've added an email address in manually, you'll notice that you've entered in the type. Now, when you want to pick the person who's going to get the statements, we'll write statements, and then I'll just do my, let's see. This is my business email address. We'll go ahead and save that. And we can just see, that this is now our guys at Jenmar International is now linked to statements, meaning that whenever statements are generated, an email will go out to this address with a link to the statement for them to download. Now that we've set Brick Dentistry West to statements, let's go over to statements and we'll sort of demonstrate what will happen through this. So now through our pick accounts is the first step that we take when closing the month. So we'll go ahead and pick our accounts, and in doing this, we just want to make sure Brick Dentistry West is going to get a statement, and they are. So I'll go ahead and we're going to unselect a few of these to make it go a little quicker, and then we're going to still get one for Brick Dentistry West, and I would expect once we selected these accounts, we'll go ahead and start the generation of the statements. We're going to end the month. Yep, we're sure we want to do it. And we'll just leave it today's date because we're not really too concerned about that at the moment. So most of you have closed the month, and Visual DLP are used to seeing the please wait while your job is submitted. We've actually made a little fix to this as well. So it will go away once the submission is complete. And we should be getting some emails here in a moment, but while we're waiting for that to happen, I want to show you the statement log here. Now, you can see after the statements have been generated where if an email was sent to them and to what email address it was sent to. So we can see Brick Dentistry West went to my Jenmar International email address. So that's just a kind of a way to double check what what's happening there. And we can see at the top we've got just a few more. Oh, it looks like we just got the email notification down here. So let's go ahead and click on that, and I'll show you what that looks like. So now we've gotten our email with our statement, and you'll see that they have this link here. Something to note is that the link does expire in 24 hours, and that's the time we're using at the moment. We're contemplating how to handle this, but at the moment it's 24 hours before this link expires. If they get sent on a weekend, they get 72 hours to download this. And when they click on this link, what they're going to see is their statement here. So they'll be able to print it or save it. We don't have much description on this one. They don't have any invoices this month, but I think you get the general idea of what the so one thing to note with the expiration of the link, if for some reason they weren't able to get it in the time period allowed, then you can simply, let's see, it was Brick West, I believe. And you can see the rest of the emails that I'm receiving, because I was in that situation. I was the person who closed the month. So I'm getting a series of emails that are telling me that the job is complete, as well as I got that previous email that showed me my statement was ready. So if Brick Dentistry wasn't able to, for some reason, get his statement, we've got it set up here in the prior statements under each account. If they called in and they needed a reprint of that, you can just hit this mail button here and it sends it to them again. So if they need to, and it refreshes the link, gives them another bit of time to download it. So you can see I just got my my new link in the email that I just sent to myself. So that's a little bit of just in case they missed it, or and we're pretty positive that we'll need to check with some of the accounts as well, because the first time they get some of these emails, they may get filtered out as spam. So we'll need to alert them to expect some emails from us. And if they do end up in their spam folder, then ask them just to mark them as not spam, and that should take care of that. And shouldn't have to really worry about that anymore. So that, in a nutshell, is how the emailing of statements will work. Now, like I said, it's going into final beta testing on September 4th, next week. Once it is pushed into production, it'll be available to everyone using Visual DLP. Just keeping in mind that you'll need to configure some email addresses in there, and take a look at those 2 areas in the global settings, just to make sure that that's filled out to your liking. Now, that pretty much covers that. The other thing I wanted to talk about today was the assigning of technicians to activities. Now, we've updated a feature that wasn't quite complete yet, so let me just take you over to order entry here. And we'll just go ahead and you'll notice the slowness. What we do with this staging website, this is a sort of pre-production website that does not have nearly the amount of resources dedicated to it, memory and such, as our production sites. So especially when sharing with Zoom and having a few people connected, it tends to go even a little bit slower. But I don't want you to worry about the actual production site performance in that regard. So let's just go in here and pick any, well, I guess I shouldn't probably pick one that's already been invoiced. We'll see. Now, on the right over here, we have the schedule. We've always had this book 2 completed by column, and now we finally implemented it into a pretty neat little feature. So as it stands right now, as you've scheduled your case, you can come in here and you can actually just pick one of these activities. And as we do that, we're going to get a little pop-up that asks us who we would like to schedule it to. And you're going to see this screen. If you have any other data for what has been going on in the week, it'll be displayed here as far as how much but what I'm doing is just clicking, and we have one employee named Andy who was allowed to do the unpacking activity. So we're going to go ahead and just pick him and save him. And then as it closes, we'll see the screen refresh as it assigns him the unpack. Again, expect these actions to take place in a matter of a second rather than the 6 or 7 that it's taking right now. Just a lot of load on the internet. So now that we can see that we've assigned Andy to the unpack, we can also set how many unpack tasks or activities, excuse me, are allowed to be performed a day in the lab. So that way we don't overload the different technicians with too many activities. Now, another useful thing about this is that if you want to use this feature in Visual DLP, we can set your work ticket to where it'll display these and have the assignments on the work ticket. So now you have that capability in Visual DLP. I know some of the folks that were using DL Plus in the past were used to assigning teams to do different cases. Similar concept, but we've taken it down to the activity level so we can kind of get a little more granular with it now, and because we realize that Andy is probably not going to do this case, this order from start to finish. So that way you have the ability to assign multiple technicians to that. And now, so that is pretty much that in a nutshell. I know I've been using that phrase multiple times today. But if you have any questions, feel free to email me at argeis@jenmarinternational.com. We can go that way, or if you want to put something into the chat. I didn't see anything come up during this chatting, so I think we're all good on that right now. But yeah, like I said, the emailing of statements and assigning of technicians to activities, two main things that are happening now. Things that are on the immediate horizon are as soon as the emailing of statements is live, which should be before, not the end of this month, but the end of next month, we should be able to have that feature fully into production. So you'll be able to send out the next statements, not these coming up ones, but the next statements out in the email. We're going to have our invoice override feature that is being worked on right now. That's one that a lot of people have been requesting, meaning that if you are in the same billing period and you've already invoiced out an order and you need to go back and make some changes on it, as long as you haven't closed the month and run statements, you'll be able to uninvoice that order, make your changes, and then re-invoice that order, but pick an override date so you can backdate it to the original invoice date. So that's something to look forward to on the horizon. And then I guess that about wraps up what I wanted to go over today. I knew it would be a short and sweet one. Looks like we're about 20 minutes. So if no one has any questions, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up, and we'll do another one of these in about a month. Like I said, you can always reach me at the Jenmar telephone or argeis@jenmarinternational.com. And thanks again for everybody coming and participating in this. We'll send out some invites and a little bit of a follow-up email where you can go check out this video and the other webinars that we've done on our YouTube site. And so thanks again, and till next time, everyone have a great rest of the day, and we'll be talking soon. All righty, thanks.